Well, hello, and I thank you for inviting me to deliver this class for Safe Environment for our students. My name is Deacon John D. Toronto. I am the assistant to the director of the Safe Environment Program, Erin Neal, and I've been asked to deliver this particular portion is for high school students, for mostly aimed at our upperclassmen. And again, it's mostly a refresher. I'm sure many of you have seen versions of this program in the past, especially if you've been in our Catholic schools, even in the lower grades. We have a progressive program where we talk about how do we keep ourselves safe. We know that there are many safe adults around us, and it is their responsibility to help us remain safe, but we also have a responsibility for keeping ourselves safe as well. And so in a minute, I'm going to offer a presentation. Some of those slides you may see and they may look familiar to you, but it's okay to have a refresher. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and start the program and allow you to take a look at what I've got to show. And again, it's going to look familiar to some of you. And hopefully you're not sitting there thinking, oh no, here we go, another internet safety presentation. And I know that we are very well versed in navigating the internet. We do a lot of social media. It is definitely a part of our lives. But it's always good to talk a little bit more and be reminded of some of the points on how we can potentially keep ourselves safe. And as we are becoming, getting more responsible for perhaps younger siblings, or we're being asked to care for younger children, this is a good way to keep this in the front of our minds with regards to how do we keep ourselves safe. So with that, let me go ahead and again, talk about our online life. We all are aware that we're constantly online. We're doing it even more now during this pandemic. So it's becoming a part of our lives, and in all different aspects, we've got to understand what we should and should not do while we're working online, or perhaps taking some downtime online, because we do use online resources, of course, for our schoolwork, and that's important, but they are a part of our social life as well. And so we need to make sure that we operate correctly when we are online. So we know we have to be careful about some of the risky behaviors. So easy to get caught up in sending inappropriate messages or inappropriate photos. And when I talk about mean or rude messages, I know so many times we share messages, and there's really, in many cases, never the intention to be mean or to be rude. Perhaps we're sending it to our friends or members of our family, and unfortunately, when it gets taken out of that conversation, and it sometimes gets taken out of context, somebody else may read it and look at it as a mean message or a rude message. And so we have to be really, really careful about the words that we put out there, because you're going to hear me say this a number of times during my presentation. As soon as you post something out on the internet, it is permanent. We can't get it back, and it will follow us for many, many years to come. So we have to be very alert to understanding of what we're actually putting out there and how it represents us to others. So careful about sending mean or rude messages. Certainly, we have to be very, very careful about sharing inappropriate photos. Again, once you send something out there or put something on a posting, we have no control over where it could potentially go. And even if you have passwords, and even if you're trying to be private in some of the things that you send, we never know when someone can, screenshot what we're sending out. They make it a permanent part of their files, and they can send it out at any time. So again, we have to be aware of what we're sending out, knowing that it's outside of our control once we put it out there. We've got to be careful about the level of what we talk about too. Sometimes we're talking about subjects that we should not be discussing. Be cautious. We don't know when somebody might be recording something that we're saying, so we have to be very cautious about that. And then, of course, be careful about visiting, especially purposely visiting adult sites. I know sometimes we're researching things and inadvertently something comes up that we didn't expect, and we should know how to back button and get off of that particular site. But just be aware, folks, that in our day of technology, every site that we visit, every keystroke that we make on our keyboard is recorded somewhere and can be researched by someone. So be aware that visiting adult sites is inappropriate, and in some cases it is actually against the law. So we want you to make sure that you are understanding what risky behaviors actually mean. And we got to be careful of that content that we put out there, especially Sometimes there are photos that are out there that we're not even the main focus of the photo. We could be in the background, and then somebody sees us and tags us and then sends that to another person, and without even being aware of what's actually been happening or the actual photo has been taken, we could be implicated in something that was not appropriate. So I know, if this picture was in color and those Solo cups were red, Solo cups by themselves are not bad. We can buy them in the supermarkets. Unfortunately, it gives a little bit of a bad image sometimes when we're walking around holding a red Solo cup. It's taken on a kind of an image that we don't want to have present in our social media. So just be aware of what you're holding in your hands when photos are taken, lewd gestures that you may be making. If it's a video, we've got to really watch our language. Any kind of hate speech or profanity would be absolutely inappropriate. And as I mentioned before, these videos and photos will stick with you for many, many years to come. And we're at the point right now that we're starting to look into getting into a college or a university, perhaps getting into the military, perhaps going on to a job. And there are many admissions programs that actually search and Google the network and see what's out there on your names. And so this is the time to be very, very cautious about what you put out there. Anything that might be revealing or suggestive would be inappropriate. And certainly, all threats are taken very, very seriously. So you have to be very, very cautious about something that might even be misconstrued as a threat. You may not have the intention of it, but if you read it from a different perspective, somebody might take that as potentially being a threat. And they need to be taken very, very seriously. So think about it. When you're putting things out there, these postings are what they say about you. What you put out there, whether they're words or whether they're photographs or images or memes, different things that you put out there, they are attached to your name and they could potentially ruin your reputation. And if you think about it, not only will you get in trouble with your parents or the school that you're attending right now, but some of the things you may be doing might actually be illegal and you might be in trouble with the law. So, thinking about your future, now is the time. There are so many stories out there where people have gone and have applied for universities, have gotten scholarships, and then after a little research, people find out that there are certain damaging photos or things that were said out on the internet, and those opportunities could be lost. With that in mind, let me share a video. Again, some of you may have seen these videos from NetSmart's workshop. I know sometimes they're a little bit funny, but the message behind them is really, really a good message. And so let me go ahead and just show you this video, and you can see what I'm talking about future opportunities.
Hey, I'm Eduardo. I'm a junior at NHS. I'm not anything special, pretty normal. I get good grades, and my friends are pretty cool. What's up, Eddie? And even my parents aren't too bad. We love you, mijo. I also do a little swimming. Actually, some recruiters have been checking me out. I'm hoping to get a scholarship for college, so my parents don't have to worry too much about tuition. Last week was a championship week, and it was awesome. And I set a school record in freestyle. Someone from the team decided to throw a party, and it was crazy. Everyone from school was there, including the hot girl from my science class. Hey, Eddie. People were acting so crazy, I had to take them pictures, man. I may have had a little too much fun. It probably wasn't the smartest thing to take pictures, but then I got really dumb and posted them on my page. It's just what everyone does. And I didn't even think to use my privacy settings. So once I posted them, everyone could see them, and anyone could share them. I found that out when I was called to the principal's office and saw some of the pictures from my page sitting on her desk. Coach was there too, and he was really disappointed. It seems like one of my so-called friends had sent them the pictures. But which one? It could have been anybody. My ex-girlfriend, who's always mad at me for something. One of my teammates, who seemed kind of jealous. It could have even been some guy I spoke to once in the 9th grade. I guess it doesn't even matter because I'm the one who put the pictures up there in the first place. Now my principal's saying that I violated the student athlete code of conduct. I signed it at the beginning of the year, and it's zero tolerance, meaning no more chances. I'm off the team. Goodbye scholarship. On top of that, I got suspended. I've never seen my parents so mad. Even my teammates won't talk to me. Some of them were in those pictures, and they've been called into the principal's office too. At first, I was really mad at whoever sent the pictures. What business was it of theirs? But then, I realized that as soon as I posted the pictures online, I made it their business. It was really all me. I was two kinds of stupid. I was the one who broke the rules. And then I posted the pictures online. It was one mistake after another. So that's my story. I used to be this kid. And now I'm this kid. This was all it took.
Again, we share, some of these images, but these are real stories too. I've heard a number of them this past summer of students that were graduating from our high schools, had gotten partial, in some cases, full scholarships, some of them athletic scholarships. And then after doing a little bit of a search online, one in particular, someone that I know quite well, had a video from when she was still in the 8th grade, and it was misconstrued, or it was interpreted as hate speech. And the university wrote to her and said that because this image was found online in a public place, that they were going to remove the scholarship that was offered to her. And she's now not able to attend that particular university and certainly can't go on that scholarship. So these stories are real, folks. You really have to think about what you're placing out there online. You've got to ask yourself these questions when you're about to post something or put something out there, whether it's words or images. Of course, as we think about our Christian values in the schools that we go to, we should be thinking about who might this hurt. Is something that I'm going to put out there be hurtful? Could it be potentially hurtful to somebody else in my community, in my school, in my family? Thinking about it from the point of view is, what does it say about me? This is my reputation that I'm putting out there. And so when I put this up there and I post it, do I want other people to see this and think and connect this to me? Could it get me into trouble, as I mentioned before, not only with your parents, but with your school, perhaps with a future school or future employment, and then if it's illegal, perhaps with the law. So you should be thinking about, how could this impact my future? Again, once it's out there, it's permanent, you can't get it back, and it's going to follow you for many, many years to come. So here's a question to think about just before you're posting something. When you're ready to post something, whether it's words or images or memes or something along those lines, would all of the adults in my life think that what I'm about to post is appropriate? If the answer is no to that question, you may reconsider what you're about to put out there online or on social media. So I know this is a lot to think about before you're posting, because we do so much work in our social media, or so much, of our social time is online. But this is something that we need to be aware of, and how we can potentially keep ourselves safe. So be careful what you put out there. Too much information is not a good thing, because we know that information can spread very quickly. It's out of our control. It can go to a lot of people that we don't even know. I'm sure we friend a lot of people if we do online gaming. So many of these people that we friend, we don't even know who they are in real life. And so we're not really sure. So be careful about information that you put out there. Some people will take that information and hack into your accounts. So just be aware, we're talking about sometimes you share your passwords, and it could be a very innocent reason. You may need somebody to get into your account, maybe download some homework, you give them your password. Be smart about changing passwords once you give it out to a person or a few people. Make sure that you're not putting any kind of information out there where people could locate you, or try to find out a little bit more about who you are. It's just a smart thing to do, and that's not only for young adults, but that's for everybody, for adults as well. So be careful. Passwords, even your home address, putting numbers out there, where your location is after a practice, or when you're getting out of school, where you're heading to, putting it out there on a public site. is not a safe thing to do. So we want to make sure that you're very smart about the personal information that you sometimes put out on social media. So just a few privacy rules. I mean, some of these are very straightforward. We probably know many of these. Using different passwords for different accounts. Whenever you can, use your privacy settings. They're not perfect, but they will, protect you from the casual person that might be trying to, take something from one of your sites. Just try to remember who you friend. I know a lot of times that's not easy. When you friend somebody, you should actually know who they are. They should actually be a friend, but sometimes that's not the case. Limiting access to your location, who gets to your location. Look for those lock symbols, or the HTTPS, S meaning security, is another protection that you have out there. And then just be wise. Don't share others' personal information. Don't share yours. Don't share passwords. And if you do, think about changing your password every once in a while and not having the same password for all the things that you do. So, very important. Unfortunately, this is becoming an epidemic because everybody walks around with a phone with a camera in their pocket. You can take a video or a still photo. We've got to be aware that sexting is not only inappropriate, but in many cases, it's against the law, especially the age of the person that is the image is being taken. Folks, just remember those guidelines that I showed you before. If you don't want every adult in your life to see what you're about to post, then I might recommend that you don't post that particular image, because it is amazing how quickly this information gets around. And once again, remember, once you post it, once you put it out there, it's outside of your control. Somebody else has control of it, and you can't control who's going to see it next. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
For gas? No, I'm sticking out. I heard it was too big. Check this out. That's cool. Whoa! Oh man! Yo, send that to me real quick. I'm not gonna. Come on, send that to me. Yo, you are full screen. Look at that, boys. Check that out, boys. I had to send this to Mark. Send that out now.
I know some of the technology in the video is starting to look old, but the message still remains the same. It is amazing how quickly information gets out of your hands, and you can no longer control where it goes. And as you can see towards the end of the video, it gets to family members, her sibling, it gets to her mom, just because somebody saw it and sent it to a friend of a friend of a friend. And then that last image, it's a sad thing, but most of these images end up on an adult website. And those are the places where we don't want our images to show up. So don't forget, revealing images can get lost or misplaced. They can be passed around without your permission. And we mentioned before, our future is in question sometimes when some of these images get to a place where somebody in charge of making decisions of who's admitting people into a particular school or giving you a job may actually see it. And you have to be careful because these images can be used to bully you or blackmail you and ask for more, and then you get into a situation that you can't get out of. So we just really, again, ask you to think before you post or send, because once again, once they're out of your hands, you can't get them back, and you can't really control who's going to see them next. So stay in control. Don't take those images of yourself that you wouldn't want everybody in your life to see, especially adults in your life to see. Certainly, if you receive somebody else's image, remember, we are in a Catholic school. We have Christian values that we live by. We do not want to be the person that sends somebody else's inappropriate image on to the public. We have to really be the people that take the high road and stop that and don't allow that to move on. You should never ask or pressure anyone to share an image. That would not be an appropriate thing to do. And again, there are many safe adults around you in your life. If somebody asks you for your image, certainly you just like the young lady in this particular video, you are allowed and you should be able to say no. And if it continues, there are safe adults that you should talk to. We should not allow this to continue, especially in the use of our social media. So what do we do if somebody asks us? Well, if it comes from a website or an app, we can certainly file a complaint. Make sure if somebody is putting an image of you out there that you did not want to put out there, you file that complaint and you include your age. If you are under 18, that particular company is obligated by law to take that image down. If you tell them that it was posted without your consent, they must, by law, act immediately to take that posting down. That's if it's out there on, one of the general websites or apps. You have the right to say no to an inappropriate request. That's how we keep ourselves safe, folks. So anytime that comes through, don't feel like you were obligated to do that. That is not something that you would be obligated to do. So again, if it's a personal thing that comes through, you respond by blocking that person or unfriending them. But the best way to stop it from reoccurring is to report the behavior and make sure that you talk to someone, especially a trusted adult. You have them around you in your classrooms, they're in your schools, they are certainly around you as well at home. So make sure that you respond in the correct manner. So we know when inappropriate requests go too far, it could lead to something that could be catastrophic. Somebody might be trying to groom you, and they do that by flattering you or sending you gifts that were unwanted, start asking you to keep secrets and turning you against your family and friends. And then especially if you're meeting them online and they want to try to meet you in real life, this could become a very dangerous situation for you. So, be aware. If it seems that it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. And there are many people out there that are very skilled at grooming young adults to trying to get into a relationship with them. So just be aware of that. And certainly never blame yourself. It is not your fault that you receive these requests, but you do need to be able to be strong and basically tell those people that you do not want to participate in. It is not something that you want to be a part of, because this could also turn into something that is another phenomenon, sadly, called cyberbullying. Before the internet and before social media, bullying was done in person. But now it's so much easier to cyberbully somebody because you don't even have to be in the same room with them or, present with them. So just be aware of what cyberbullying is. Of course, anytime a hate group about a particular person is created, that's cyberbullying. Anytime we post any kind of mean comments about somebody online, that's cyberbullying. Photoshopping someone's photo, and putting their face on an image that wasn't really theirs just to embarrass them is also cyberbullying. Anytime you record or post anything, photos or videos, spread rumors or gossip through text messages, or even try to steal someone's identity and create a fake profile, or making a Finsta or something that the person is not aware that you're doing, is all part of cyberbullying. And we can prevent cyberbullying. We have the ability to do that. We can defeat it. Sadly, cyberbullying could lead to very disastrous impacts or effects or results. For those of you that may be familiar with Amanda Todd, she was a young lady that was bullied in more than one school. She was in one school. She begged her parents to transfer her. She went to a different school, but of course, because cyberbullying is on the internet and it's a social media, um, it followed her to her new school, and she went through it a second time. And the sad part about this particular story is that she created a video using these flashcards and told her story about how she was constantly bullied by her classmates and small groups that were just doing hate talk against her. And this sad story ended by her taking her life. So cyberbullying could end up in a very disastrous way, folks, and we need to make sure that we are combating cyberbullying. You know, those that are the target of cyberbullying, you know, may start having a low self-esteem, feeling, you know, not really great about themselves. They start to be off on their own and feel lonely. They may they may not even want to go back to school or even go online. You know, what you say and words that you put out there absolutely matter to a particular person that's the target of some of the things. So we can do things. As I mentioned, we can defeat cyberbullying. But one of the things that, if you are the target, don't respond. I mean, don't get into that contest of trying to go back and forth. Don't try to block the bully. Set up a new account if you have to. If it's something that's on an app, that you can make a report. But here's the big thing, folks. We need to talk to an adult, a safe adult that can coach you and help you and make sure that you are not continually the target of cyberbullying. And, you know, everybody can help in this. You can document what you see and when you see it. But here's the thing. If you know of a really good friend that might be targeting somebody else in the school, don't encourage that bullying behavior. Don't participate in it just to fit in. Once again, we are taught in our schools about knowing our Christian values, that we stand up for those that are being that are being attacked. We need to stand up for the victim. We have to stand up against cyberbullying. This again is something that goes on constantly, and we have to be the person that can stand up to help. You know, we should not be the person that passes on information just because you know, one of our friends asked us to do it. Again, if you have a friend that's doing them, you know, talk to them, try to reason with them, and ask them why are they doing that, and think about the person that's being the target of the actual cyberbullying. We can't feed the cyberbullies. Okay, so you know, we're not going to be friends with everybody that we meet through our lives. We won't be friends with everybody in our schools. When we eventually get out of school and get jobs, we're not going to be friends with everybody that we work with. It's just a part of life. But that doesn't mean that we have to be critical to them and talk to other people about them, or forward rumors or embarrassing photos, or comment on insulting or harassing posts. I mean, we have to learn now at this point in our lives to treat others with respect. That's a big part of our education that we grow up in, and as we eventually become a part of society, you know, we can show others that we can enter into, you know, public places and schools, and eventually into our careers with Catholic values and treating others with respect. And that's a big part of what we're doing now. So be positive. Create a positive online environment. Always think about what you're about to share and how that person that may be the object of this particular text or video or image, how they're going to feel about it. Don't cyberbully, certainly, but equally, don't encourage it. And certainly don't request inappropriate content. That's all parts of being a cyberbully. And once again, if you are the target, you need to report it. Or even if you're not, and you hear of somebody else that is afraid to report it, we need to be that person that stands up for the victim. That's where we can defeat this. There's much more information that you can see on NetSmarts and nsteens.org. They can give you some additional information with regards to defeating cyberbullying. But the way that we do it, in a word, we defeat it with kindness. So I wanted to just offer my thanks, allowing me to come into your classrooms today. This is a continuing education, so there may be a facilitator in your classroom, or certainly your teachers and your counselors should be able to promote this information and keep it going. Keep talking about it. The more that we are aware of utilizing social media in a very safe way and keeping ourselves safe, and also making sure that those around us are safe, that's really what we're intending to do with this program. And then if I can leave you with this thought, folks, be careful about what you post. Remember, it's permanent. It gets out there that you can never get it back, and you can't control where it goes. And your future is really potentially at stake. You know, we may not think about it now, but years down the line, someone can retrieve this, and that might be something that we don't want to happen. Think about it. Think before you post. Be safe, be kind, and be blessed. I thank you so much. Have a blessed day.